And good afternoon, everyone. Just check here to make sure we are recording. Fine. Great. Ted here, and this muggy, overcast, cool afternoon. You'd think it was October or something like that, but nope, it's still August. Anyway, I thought I'd get back to you. Previously, we did a little work out here on the deck, and I cut some wood up with a trimming saw, $15 about it, or rural hardware I bought, way out in the boondocks really. And it was one that the packaging covered the blade so I couldn't see the teeth. Turned out it was one that the teeth had been punched out, I call it, stamped out on a machine, and it did okay. I'll give it an okay. I wasn't really impressed with it. Anyway, especially when I compared it to my friend. It's a Silky pocket boy. Let's see, 130 it says on it. Now this one I bought a couple of years ago. It was my first of this type of saw. This one's Japanese made. I like it. The fact that the blade opens like that, plus it comes up like that, so you can be cutting and not beat your knuckles. So like that. Anyway, so when I compared it to my Silky, it had coarser teeth. Yeah, it wasn't really great. Since then, now I've obtained this saw, and it's a Komelon, made in Korea. It's an FC-201-8 inch, and they call it a Speed Cut Pro. Now, of course, this one, just to be different, they got the button up here. Now, you'll notice a difference when we compare the edge of the blade to my ruler. It's got the arc in it, and I'm certain that this one is designed also as a trimming blade, trimming saw. Took a little getting used to. I did some cutting today with the Silky and with it. It's 2 inches longer. The Silky is a 6-inch blade, unless it's going to make a liar out of me. Got an 8 in a box. Anyway, we're going to measure them, and I'm going to measure the teeth, and we'll get an idea on that, and I'll show you some of the types of cuts I got as well. Okay, so the Silky, I'm going to turn it so my ruler is facing inches up, and I'm going to count from the hinge where the guard comes there. I think that, well, actually no, the last tooth. Okay, if you take a total overall length, it's 5 1/4 inches. Now that's from here right to the tip. Okay, we'll turn this one over, and it's supposed to be an 8-inch, and we'll measure, and it's 8 1/2 from there, and yeah, still 8 1/2 from the first tooth down here at the tip. Okay, at the handle. Now, the big difference in them I found was the Silky was stiffer in the flexing of the blade. It did not flex anywhere near as much, and that 2 inches makes a big difference. The Silky, to bend it that much, is stiffer. Okay, the Silky, I'm going to measure how many teeth I get for 1 inch. And we can turn around and do metric afterwards with this rule. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we can say 7 almost. Okay, 7 on the Silky. Now, we'll start here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 1/2. So there's a tooth and a half difference in that. Gives a fair amount. I'm going to bring the blades up, and I'll have to use my trusty camera, or telephone, so I can see what you see, because that's the disadvantage I'm at. So okay, I think you can get a good idea. Let me lift it up. Yeah, I am awkward a little bit, I know. Anyway, you can see there is a difference there. They're both hollow ground. This one is less of a taper, I would say, to the grind. I had more friction of it in the kerf when I was cutting than I did with the Silky. The Silky is actually just a bit wider blade, and I'm talking about the teeth tips, okay? Because that's the only way we can really compare them. Now, what I was cutting, first off, we'll hit the last wood I cut, because that's the last piece. They're on top in my bucket. You know what I mean, right? This is stuff that I took out of the brush here, plus the one piece, and this is the stub of it, right here, off an oak tree. And there's where I cut it with that other saw, the trimming saw, and the branch was dead, but I'm going to say not totally dry. And so holding it over the bucket, cutting, it was a little difficult. It definitely is more difficult to cut than the last pieces I cut. This is actually the stub off the last piece, okay? So you can see, I'm going to bring it up, along with, here's one. Okay, and so you can see the smoothness, or I shouldn't say smoothness, the softness of the wood. You can see it's actually soft. And get up there, yeah. And this one's the same way. Now, some of the pieces, you just had the little dot in the middle. That was about it. Okay, both saws cut it readily, and I think the other one would have too. It's out in the garage along with my gardening type tools. Now I'm going to shake the bucket, and I need to go down a fair ways. Okay. Yeah, there's one, and there's two. Now, you can see on these two the difference in the type of wood, right? Look at how close grained it is, and how big, I'm going to call it the core. I'm not sure that that's exactly correct, but anyway, I cut them first because they were the closest to me when I sat down beside where the camera's situated right now. So definitely the latter much more difficult to cut. Much easier to cut this soft stuff. Now, of course, we know when I burn them in my hobo stove, and that depends on which one. I don't know which one it will end up being, whatever. I'm going to actually use these when I first start the fire, get it going. And if I need to have something that's going to cook for longer, then I'll stick in the oak pieces. I probably will use my hawk and get myself a piece of 2x6 or something so I can just chop them and split them a little bit so they ignite easier, especially for the oak. But anyway, they did quite well. Now, so what's my benefit on these? Well, definitely the Silky comes natural to me. The blade is straight, it's flat, and you can see, and therefore it's like using your hand saw from the woodworking shop, right? Or in the garage you bought from Canadian Tire or whatever, that you're going to be cutting 2x4s, 1x8s, whatever. So I'm used to that type of stroke. Now they both cut on a pull stroke. They do cut on a push stroke also a little bit. This one actually maybe a bit more, I'm not sure. But they both pull beautifully on the pull stroke. This one with that arc in the blade, what did I find? Well, I was doing fine from about here to here. I had to really ease off of my weight on the blade to actually coming up here. Once I get used to doing it, that's fine. It worked just great for me. So, my thoughts. Well, I'm impressed. I knew the Silky was finer and would not cut as quickly, and it didn't. But they both worked well. Would I have another Silky? Oh yes, no problem. Anytime I can get one at a real good value, there's no question about it. I would definitely go for it. This guy, yeah, it's an 8-incher, and really I'd love to try an 8-inch Silky. Or I know there's some other brands out there, that big green one, and memory escapes me right now. Bacco, sorry, Laplander I think it is, that a lot of folks do use very successfully, and that might be good too. But see, if I don't see them in a store here, I probably am not going to buy them. I try to purchase locally from my local merchants, all kinds of products. So this one, this disadvantage, only one really. Okay, well, it doesn't like to line up and go in well. When the blade is fully in place, you can see there's a groove here, and yes, it'll catch on things that are in your pack. Now, I took this out last Saturday when I went out and that trek in the woodlot with all that poison ivy. I had it with me in case I needed to cut some wood there for my Nano. Didn't need to. For my Firebox Nano, I didn't need to use it, but the wood snapped quite readily in my fingers. So, and then I got down to, well, just the right length to feed into the aperture and the sides of the stove, and it worked great. But anyway, so I'm going to keep that one in there. Now this one was in my bug out bag, and I went and took it out. I'm still pondering on the bug out bag kitting. So there you go. I don't have a lot of resources to spend. I don't know what is the best. I'm trying to make it simple, and a saw that'll cut 3 inches is probably going to be quite adequate. I need to keep the weight very light. I'm not supposed to lift at any time more than 20-25 pounds. And the rucksack in itself weighs enough. So I'll be looking at that. And I'd appreciate some suggestions coming my way as well. I'd like to hear from you. I know some of you are very much experienced in the woodlot, whereas I've not had much experience the last few years with all that's gone on with my family life. But I want to get back at it more. And so we're going to be doing that more. I'm going to be using a wood stove tonight to cook part of supper, and the barbecue behind me to barbecue the meat, just so we can do it up nice. I'll even break down the whitewashing off this table that gets debris on it from the wind. Anyway, it's been great to have you with me, and I know I took a rabbit trail there a little bit. Sorry about that. That's part of my nature. So I thank you for your joining me. Thank you for subscribing if you have, and if you haven't, I ask that you consider doing so. Maybe you're not even registered, so you can subscribe or leave a thumbs up or a negative. Please think about that too. There's myself and many thousands out there that are putting out phenomenal videos on YouTube, and I love watching them, to the point that my television gets basically only used for watching YouTube now, with some Netflix thrown in and some DVDs I've got on the shelf. So if you would, please sign up so you can subscribe, and when you do subscribe, then hit the little bell so that it'll be good for you to be able to receive messages from whomever you hit the bell for, you subscribe for, and hit the bell. If they put a new video up, you'll get an email letting you know. And that'll help you out too, so you can keep up to date. And if you would, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And for those of you that find something that you don't like, please don't just give us a thumbs down. And that goes for anybody else either, I think. Tell us why, so we can make our videos better. I need lots of experience, training. Well, training I'm getting right here and out in the woodlot when I can. And hopefully by next weekend I'll be able to be out in the wilds a bit more, even if it's going fishing and taking along my pack and making up my lunch on the way. I'm looking forward to that as well. Now it's cooling down a bit. Look forward to hearing from you. Look forward to seeing you, those of you who are contributors to YouTube. Hopefully I'll get a chance to stop by, and if I haven't already, and view your sites. All the best now. Enjoy this beautiful weather while we have it, even if it is dreary. That's okay. It's better than that white stuff, or that. I have four-letter words I don't like. One starts with R, ends with N. One is S and ends with N. And I'm sure when they relate to weather, you folks can guess what they are. I'm a wimpy, I guess. Anyway, it's been great talking to you. Have yourself a good day. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now. Ted's clear.